Welcome to Life in the 1800s newspapers. Today's issue is April 11th, 1896. Behind the Footlights. When J.G. Payne assumed the management of the Walla Walla Opera House last Saturday, a series of brilliant entertainments was begun. Most notable of these was the presentation of King Lear by the famous actor Frederick Ward, Wednesday night. During his sojourn in the city, Mr. Ward was entertained by the Walla Walla Club, by the Elks, and by a number of prominent citizens who waited upon him. Superior Court Notes. Everyone in the courtroom at the spring term of the Superior Court Monday was interested in the disposition of the cases against Johnson and Kroll for robbing Sam Michelson about a month ago. A jury was impaneled without much difficulty, and the case proceeded for trial. As there were no evidence on behalf of the defendants except their own testimony, conviction speedily followed. The boy Kroll was recommended to the mercy of the court by the jury. The case of Alice Bender versus Mike Buckley, suit for $15,000 damages for seduction, and after a jury was called, the case was dismissed, with the stipulation that the defendant confess judgment in the sum of $200. Martin Campbell, one of the pioneers of the territory of Washington, and a man who has always been regarded as a staunch and reliable citizen, was up in the Superior Court Tuesday on the charge of horse stealing. The circumstances of the affair, which brought Mr. Campbell into such undesirable prominence, are peculiar, and therefore the case is interesting. Mr. Campbell resides 4 miles south of Walla Walla on the interstate line. Near him live the Kellys, with whom he claims to have been neighborly. Last fall, some horses belonging to the Kellys strayed into Mr. Campbell's field. He said that he notified the owners of the stock several times to keep it up, which they failed to do. Anyway, to use his own language, "The horses died in my place, and their carcasses were eaten by my hogs." On the charge that Mr. Campbell shot the horses and fed them to his hogs, a warrant for his arrest was issued. The nice legal point as to whether the man had the right to kill breechy stock was not passed upon in this trial, on account of the way that the evidence was presented in the Superior Court. Women and tobacco. Smoking, when indulged in by persons who are not physically very robust, may produce temporary color blindness. Such is the conclusion at which Captain Abney, the photographic specialist, has arrived, and when he recently explained before an audience at the Royal Institute. We may be thankful for this fresh argument derived from science against the adoption of tobacco habit by ladies. Obviously, if smoking renders people unable to distinguish between different hues in silks and satins and stuff, the pleasant ceremony of shopping would be at an end as far as womankind is concerned. It seems that those who are tobacco blind can correctly pick out the name of blue palettes in a number of different ones, but other colors they inaccurately describe as white. This would be singularly embarrassing for a lady whose heart was set upon a delicate greeny-yellow tint for a dress. Repons, the modern standard family medicine, cures the common, everyday ills of humanity. An exciting runaway. John McFeely's trotting horse created considerable excitement on 2nd Street Thursday. Becoming unmanageable near the post office, it ran into the fire plug on the corner, then across the street, and tried to enter the office of H.P. Isaacs. Falling to the walk and struggled to its feet, and struck out after another place of a flower man, C.W. Phillips. Taking a corner off his conservatory, The runaway plunged into the real estate and land schemes of Bowmaster and Paxton, destroying thereby some fine specimens of rubber painting executed by artist Baumeister. After crossing Main Street 3 times, the animal was finally captured. A very sad accident happened at Umatilla about 6 o'clock Monday evening. Matthew Diffel, the 9-year-old son of Mr. Diffel, a car repairer, was run over by a train of cars. The injured boy was brought to this city on a special train and was taken to St. Mary's Hospital. Everything in human power was done to save the lad's life, but to no avail. He died near midnight on Monday. Mr. George Bradbury moved his cookhouse to furnish a kitchen for the men plowing some of his land. When the cook came on Wednesday evening after the hailstorm to get supper, he found the cookhouse lying on its side. No one was present to report his conversation with the elements, but it is supposed to have been emphatic. They robbed the crap game. 2 masked men entered an Astoria Saloon the other night and robbed the crap game of the bankroll amounting to $560. The men entered by the side door and each holding a pistol. The taller man of the 2 demanded the unconditional surrender of every man in the house. The demand was promptly complied with. Leaving the smaller man in the center of the house to cover the people of the saloon, his companion stepped over to the crap table, which had just closed for the night, and shoveling his gun under the nose of the dealer, took the bankroll, which the dealer had just put in a sack for him. The robbers made for the door, firing a shot through the window as they went. Officer Seafelt and Sheriff Hare, who was in the vicinity of the saloon, heard the shot, and as they approached the place, saw the men running up 7th Street. They immediately gave chase, followed by the crowd from the saloon, and ran the robbers up the hills near the Court Street schoolhouse, where they escaped into the brush. During the pursuit, the robbers fired several shots, all of which went into the ground, presumably for the purpose of frightening the crowd. When the man pulled the gun on the dealer, who is known as Cocktail Charlie, that individual fainted.